Hey everybody, I'm back! And today we're gonna get in the Wayback Machine, travel back to a decade called the 1980s, take a look at some vintage Dee-TROY-it Red Wing sweaters. So put on your toques, crack open an ice cold Labatt Blue or a Molson Ice, and stick around! It's the Fungo Den! Hey everybody, I'm back, and as promised, we're going to take a look at some old Dee-TROY-it Red Wings sweaters. But first, I'd like to thank everybody who viewed my last video, took the time to comment. It was the video about my first game at Little Caesars Arena, and this video is kind of a continuation of that. In that video, I touched briefly on my very first game at Joe Louis Arena back in 1982. It was actually October 20th, 1982. And this video is kind of a continuation of that because I want to go back to October 20th, 1982 at Joe Louis Arena, downtown Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Red Wings played the Quebec Nordiques and lost. I believe it was 5-3. But on that night, I was 7 years old. And as a matter of fact, this is the official program from that night. It's the Wings magazine, the official program of the Detroit Red Wings. And this was before they switched, I believe, in a couple of years to Goal was the official program at Joe Louis Arena for many years during the 80s, into the 90s, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But on that same night was the night that my dad purchased me my very first Red Wings jersey. And here it is. Now, I'll give you a little context. Back in 1982, this was before you could buy the authentic on-ice jerseys that the players wear. I believe it wasn't until the mid to late 80s that you could start to actually purchase the on-ice jerseys worn by the players. Now, prior to that, they sold what were called replica jerseys, which weren't actually replicas. They were slightly different in appearance to the ones that the players wore on the ice, other than the fact that they lacked the things like the fighting straps and everything else that go with the on-ice jerseys. But they did sell replica jerseys, and that's the one that I got. This is the one. It's child size. Now, it's 50% cotton and 50% nylon. Now, this was before they had switched to the polyester jerseys. And here it is. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the crest, the famous winged wheel. Now, on the replica jerseys, one of the differences between the on-ice jerseys and the replica jerseys was the crest. It was slightly different. Now, if you'll take a look at the crest on this hooded sweatshirt right here, this is the crest that the Wings have been wearing on their uniforms home and road since about the mid-80s. Now, prior to that, there were slight variations, such as they'd wear this crest on the red jerseys, and then at home they would wear the same version, except instead of being white on red, it would be red on white to better match with the white jersey. And it wasn't until the mid-80s where they went with this crest for both the home and road jerseys. And it's the one they've used ever since. But at the time, they had an alternate crest which appeared on certain apparel like jackets and shirts, other things, and the replica jerseys, and you can tell that it's different. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison up here, and if you take a look at it, the wheel is larger in proportion to the wings, and if you'll see, the design of the wheel is actually slightly different. You'll see, particularly up in here, there's more red, whereas here there's more white with red on the bottom. It is clearly different. Now this logo, I think they dropped it in about the mid-'80s. Even when the replica jerseys went, they started using this crest even on the replica jerseys, which I have one here I'm going to show you in a minute. But take a look at it. This is it. Another difference. Now this would have been the road jersey in 1982-83. NHL teams wore white at home and their dark jerseys on the road. So this was the road jersey. Take a look at it. Another thing that's different, if you see this white collar here. Now, this is different from the actual jerseys that the Wings wore at the time. This would have been red on the Wings jersey. Now, this jersey in 1982 cost $28 in the child size. The adult version was $30. Now, $28 adjusted for inflation now is about 86 bucks. So this is an $86 jersey in 2022 dollars. Pretty interesting. It's made by Sando Sporting Knit. If you'll see on the bottom, on the back, if you can still read it here. On the bottom, take a look where the white stripe is. Sandow SK stands for Sandow Sporting Knit. They made the Wings jerseys. Not sure if they got bought out by CCM. This is actually, Sandow made the jerseys up until the 81-82 season. So this would have been a leftover that was purchased during the 82-83 season. By that year, I think they had switched to a company called Maxa. So that's this one here. 40 years old. I wore it a lot, man. As you can see, the ends of the sleeves are frayed. The bottom of it is frayed. But, yeah, I wanted to show that to you. Now, the next one, this one right here, this is a mid-'80s replica jersey. This is the 100% polyester. This is actually the one my dad wore to the games when he went back in the 80s. He gave this to me. But it's an adult medium size, a men's medium. It's made by CCM. This would have been from around 85. It's got the alternate crest on it, and you can see how small the crest is relative to the rest of the jersey. Again, it's the alternate crest that was on the replica jerseys. This is a replica, circa 1985, made by CCM. And you can see on the bottom, on the back there's the CCM logo below the white stripe. Now, the Wings moved the white stripe to the bottom of the jersey around 86, 87, and it's stayed there ever since. Once they moved the white stripe to the bottom of the jersey, it stayed there, and it's been the same for about the last 35 years. Wings uniforms have gone unchanged, essentially, for the last 35 years. So that's this one. Now I got one more here. This one would have been purchased around 87, 88. This is the one that I wore when I was about 12 or 13, is when I got it. It's a Wings replica jersey. The home whites at the time. And as you can see, it has the proper crest on it. And you'll see it's the exact same crest that's on this hooded sweatshirt that I just bought a couple weeks ago. It's the one they've been using ever since the early 80s on both the home whites or the home reds now and the road whites. And this is from 1987. 100% polyester. So yeah, the late 80s, they moved away from the alternate crest for the replica jerseys and just went ahead and put the regular crest on there. And I believe that's around the same time the on ice actual official jerseys that the players wear became available to the public. This particular jersey here, this was at a time when the Wings got their jerseys made by a local sporting goods store called Eastside Sporting Goods. And if you watch the old games, on the bottom of their jersey there, you'll see it says East Side on it. It was called Eastside Sporting Goods. And there's the CCM logo. CCM made these jerseys. And I believe Eastside made these jerseys in the late 80s. I'm not sure when they went away from that, but this has got Eastside on it. This is a replica. Yeah, there it is. So there you go. I just wanted to share some old Red Wing sweaters with you from the 1980s. And I think I'm going to do one more video talking about that first game I saw at Joe Louis Arena. Hope you dug this one. And we'll see you next time on the Fungo Den. Who's here?